And time now for a News 9 exclusive. The German-Indian Business Outlook, conducted jointly with KPMG in the month of April and May this year, has been released, and the annual survey reflects how India is top of mind for German businesses. Well, I have the pleasure of now being joined by Germany's ambassador to India, Philipp Ackermann, and the Director General of the Indo-German Chamber of Commerce, Stefan Halusa, to put the findings of the report in perspective. Well, gentlemen, Ambassador Ackermann and Stefan Halusa, thank you so much for your time this morning. Let's get started. Ambassador Ackermann, my first question to you. The report suggests a staggering 79% of German companies, that's 4 in every 5 German companies surveyed, plan to invest in India by the year 2030. I want to understand what's driving the appeal towards India and which sectors in your mind are likely to see maximum investment action.
So first of all, I'm quite impressed with this number, and it's a trend, and Stefan will tell you about it a bit more. But we have seen through the years that there is a growing confidence when it comes to investing in India by German business. I think this year is an all-time high, and that shows that India, for many companies, German businesses, has become as we call it, a now market, not a future market. It's a now market. People really want to benefit from the development that we have in India. And when you ask me why is that such a clear and a loud message, as it were, I would say clearly political stability, a very business-friendly environment, business-friendly authorities on center and state level. And of course, you should not forget a very impressively growing middle class. The impressive growth of India, the average 6 to 7% we see in India, is the fastest growing economy of that in this area in the world, and that of course reflects on German business. What I wanted to say when you ask me which sector will be the most interested one in investing, I think it's very difficult to say, because basically every sector is in a way interested in India. But what I see coming now is more and more what we call Mittelstand in Germany. So medium-sized enterprises. We have the big ships are in India for a long time. All the big names, the brand names of Germany, BASF and Bosch and SAP, and also the car makers are there. But now we feel that the Mittelstand, the smaller companies, the ones who are basically the backbone of German economy, they are more and more interested in India, and that's a good sign.
Right. So it's the Mittelstand companies. Stefan Halusa, let me bring you into this conversation, because there's another data point that suggests that more than half of the German companies surveyed, almost as much as 56%, aim to use India as a manufacturing hub. Now, I want to understand, is this decision based on the cost arbitrage that India offers, or India's growing technological prowess that delivers better quality? Or, in your mind, is it a combination of both?
I think it is a combination of various factors. When you look at the answer to the question, why are you investing in India? I think a few of those points stand out. One is, and the ambassador already mentioned that, is political stability. This is really something that is very important for investors, not only from Germany, but I think from anywhere in the world. Then it is more and more the availability of employees, of qualified English-speaking employees, and that, according to the survey, is getting more important than the cost arbitrage that you mentioned. So cost arbitrage is still mentioned, the relatively low labor cost, but it is decreasing in importance when it comes to the investment decisions of the companies. It's really more the other two. And of course, the other factors, obviously, is the booming economy that makes India so attractive as an investment destination.
Of course, we will talk about the economy as well. But Ambassador Ackermann, if I can bring you in now, and there's a lot of data in that report, and very interesting data, so it's important to refer to the salient features that we are seeing in the report. Now, 7 in 10 participants rank India among their top 5 most important markets. So again, my question to you is, what has India done right in terms of its consumption story to merit that preference of German brands?
So I would say that, first and foremost, is, as you rightly say, the growing middle class, makes a market for German products in India. I think 10, 15 years ago, the market was relatively small in spite of the huge country, but now this market share is just getting bigger and bigger. Indians are sophisticated people; they know what quality is, and I think they have understood that quality comes at a price also, and therefore I think that the consumers in India have a sense for the product the German business is offering, mostly produced by now in India, of course, through their branches in India. So I think that this market development makes it very attractive for German business to be in India. I will tell you that Stefan Halusa and I, we were yesterday in Bielefeld, which is a smaller German city in the west, and there is a big kitchen devices producer called Miele. And Miele is a very famous household name in Europe, but now their business in India is growing. So dishwashers, vacuum cleaners.
That's right.
And they say, they feel it that, the Indian customer is looking towards more quality in the product, and therefore they're, have been making.
All right. Well, of course, Miele is one of the brands that we have obviously heard of and interacted with here in India as well. But Stefan Halusa, another data point, and I'll not go beyond too many data points. Now, almost half the surveyed leaders in the report also believe that Indian companies will surpass their German counterparts within 5 years. Now, is this a result of Germany's, and not just Germany, the overall developed economies slowing down of growth rate, and India, on the contrary, which Ambassador Ackermann was also referring to, continuing to be the fastest growing major economy in the world, and that is likely to result in surging corporate earnings. So I want to understand which sectors in your mind are likely to surpass German companies quicker than the rest.
I think again it is a combination of different causes that make the companies answer like they did. One is, of course, when you look at what the companies are investing in India, it is digitization, it's artificial intelligence, it's cybersecurity, it is Internet of Things, it is Industry 4.0. So I think what companies are seeing, when the German companies are seeing when they look at India, that there's a big space in that digitization space where Indian companies are already taking up world market roles. And I think it is this that makes them believe that if this continues and that development will continue, we see the speed, the companies and some of those companies that are already active in there do have the potential to actually surpass German companies. And this is probably also based on the experience that German companies have made over the decades in other or with other countries. Look at Japan, look at Korea, look at China for that matter. At the beginning, the German industry was, I'm not saying looking down, but they were underestimating the potential of the respective companies. And I think right now they're very aware of this, and they're very aware that there is a huge and very profound technological base in this area in India. And there is the concern that if we're not partnering with India, if you're not investing in India, if you're not getting active in the market in India, if you do not cooperate with Indian companies in that area, we may actually fall behind. So I think this is one actually of the most interesting aspects and answers of the survey, that because that triggers company to become active in India even more. It's not only the market size, not only the potential, it's the technology that is available and the understanding. If we're not getting active and benefit from the technologies and the talents that are available, this may not only we may not only miss out on opportunities in India, this may actually be a threat to our global business model. And this is why I think companies will start to look even more at India and what they should be doing there.
So what I'm hearing, Stefan, is the fear of missing out. It is FOMO also, which is one of the factors which is driving German companies to look at India more seriously. But Ambassador Ackermann, now I want to pivot away from this FOMO conversation that we were having and really talk about a real fear, and that is the fear of tariffs. And many are now saying that tariffs are ushering in a new world economic order. So how does the US-China decoupling story, as well as Germany's own diversification outside of China, make room for bilateral trade opportunities for countries like Germany and India to forge better business ties, sir?
So I would say that geopolitically, one would say that there is a certain urge or desire to decouple from China. Maybe decoupling is too much a word, but there is a de-risking exercise going on, so that German business is thinking of diversifying and not putting all their eggs in one basket. So German business has made a lot of money and a lot of profit with China for a long, long time, but now they feel, for various reasons, that it is better to look elsewhere, and the government is also encouraging. So that's one part of the equation. The other part is tariffs, as you rightly say. And, as India, we are not very convinced by US politics on this matter. And therefore, our approach to international trade and business is basically lower tariffs and lower non-tariff barriers. And therefore, I think Germany is very keen on seeing this FTA, this free trade agreement between India and the EU happening. And I think that's the right answer to a more protectionistic environment, trying to globalize your economy. I think India's private sector, there is no need to hide. It's top-notch internationally, so it can go global. It does go global. It has gone global in many ways. So I think European and Indian businesses are, perfect for an FTA, and therefore I do hope, as an answer to this tariff policy we've seen in the last couple of months, we'll see an FTA by the end of this year.
Okay, Stefan, let's talk about that FTA. Now, look at India, India along with the European Free Trade Association, or EFTA. Now, there is a TEPA in place, as a trade and economic partnership, which India has gone ahead and signed. But India-EU FTA, which many are now saying is likely to be agreed upon by end of this year. So, are there stumbling blocks? Why hasn't this FTA gone through as yet? And in your mind and your conversations with industry leaders, what seem to be the stumbling blocks for the India-EU FTA to finally go through?
That's a difficult question to answer, Kartik, because only very little news actually transcends out of the negotiations. And therefore, we're not really sure where the negotiators are standing at this point in time. But I think in general, and that's also what I think makes us optimistic. In the past, we always heard that one of the major stumbling stones or issues was that while India and the Indian government prefers to have an early harvest agreement, basically an agreement that encompasses and includes and focuses on tariffs and maybe some of the non-tariff barriers, the EU has had the objective to have an all-encompassing, all-including agreement regarding sustainability and many other aspects as well. Now, and that, of course, is a different agreement. India wanted to have it in stages, whereas the EU wanted to have it in one stage. And from what we hear, but again, this is hearsay, I have to clearly state, is that in the last round, after the Prime Minister and the President of the Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, met, that there was, I wouldn't call it breakthrough, but at least there seems to be some movement in the direction of having a staged agreement. And I think once this is really achieved, there can be a momentum that hopefully then gets us to the finalization of an agreement by the end of this year.
All right, and let's talk about momentum that we are also trying to build here. Ambassador Ackermann, a very pointed question to you, very dear to us here at the TV9 network. I want to understand the News9 Global Summit, which kicked off its international foray with Germany last year. And this year, again, we are taking the flagship event back to Stuttgart in the month of October. How do events like these, by media organizations providing the platform for dialogue, help augment trade ties even further?
So I think I should congratulate you first for this very, very good initiative. And, one of the most convincing elements of your conference is that you go to Stuttgart to do it. Germany is, like India, a federally organized state, and the states are very powerful, sometimes ruled by opposition parties, but very, very strong and performing. Baden-Württemberg, the state whose capital Stuttgart is one of the most performing states, and I think it's very smart to go to these Mittelstand environments like Stuttgart, where you find the local government, the state government, very interested in your conference, and also getting all the regional players, the big players, to the table. That is, what makes German business so interesting, that you don't find it concentrated in one point. It is spread across the country, and Baden-Württemberg, the state in the southwest where Stuttgart is the capital, is one of the most interesting states for doing business. So I think it is not to be underestimated, the impact of your news conclave, your conference in Stuttgart, and I think it's a great idea to do it again this year.
Well, thank you so much. And with that, gentlemen, we will end it at the moment. But thank you so much. And I will also take the liberty of inviting you both to the upcoming News 9 Global Summit in Stuttgart on October 9th and 10th.